Hey everyone, we've been off for a few weeks, so we've got quite a few shoutouts to dole out. Week 13 winner of the Pick'em contest was Quagmire67. Who's that handsome fella? Oh wait, that's me. Week 14, Burger223. Whoever you are, great job. And week 15, Your Mom Never Loved You. Well, that's hurtful, but congratulations nonetheless. We've got a few weeks left in the season, so you can still sign up at this point for our Pick'em contest. Obviously, regular season is well out of reach, but we give shout-outs week to week, and you can kind of get a feel for what we do with this because we'll bring this back next season as well and into the postseason, so feel free to sign up at this point. On today's episode of the Sports Ballers Podcast, we will get into what happened week 15. It was an action-packed week around the league, so we got a lot to talk about there. Big week 16 games, a little college football playoff intrigue, and some other interesting news, both good and bad. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of the Sports Ballers Podcast. My name is Eric Meyer. I am joined by Corey Puffett and Evan Ash. Gentlemen, how are we feeling today?
Doing pretty well. Glad to be back.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'll just knock something over, but other than that, I'm good.
Well, it's not your stuff, so Corey might be the one upset about that, but he doesn't seem to care either, and I don't care either because it's the holiday season. Things are feeling great right now. I was cruising down Route 1 in normally not very beautiful College Park down Route 1, but everything was lit up, and it just seemed so festive, and it got me in a good mood on my way down here. So let's get into today's episode. Lots of football action around the league as we approach playoff time. And the first big game that we can talk about, because there were quite a few, let's do Chargers-Chiefs, just right off the rip, because that was the most consequential game in terms of the long-term future of certain players, namely Patrick Mahomes, who unfortunately suffered a torn ACL at the latter stage of the game.
20 seconds left?
It
was the end of the game.
Yeah, it was basically the end of the game. The Chiefs were still in the game at this point,
Sure.
So it wasn't like this was an inevitable defeat because they were approaching field goal range with an attempt to tie the game. Unfortunately, Mahomes rolled out to his right like he has a lot this season, and he's been banged up a little bit all year. He's had to run a lot more, and he ultimately gets clipped and has his knee bend awkwardly, and he suffers a torn ACL and LCL. He had successful surgery on that, I believe, yesterday to repair and reconstruct those ligaments, but he will be out, obviously, the rest of this year.
And probably a good portion of next year. You know, an ACL, they said the LCL was also torn. Like, this is an injury that if he comes back within 9 months, it would be miraculous, and that would still put him missing about a quarter of next season, or thereabouts, right? Like not quite a quarter.
We're in early September, early mid-September, so
he'd miss like the first couple weeks or so of the
yeah,
season. But like, odds are he's probably gonna miss closer to a full year.
I mean, we'll see when he comes back. 10 months is typically a safe timeline, but this is also a situation where it's a quarterback who relies on mobility quite a bit, and the fact that he has to rehab 2 ligaments. Now, from what I've read from experts, is that the rehab process doesn't take longer, but it's a harder rehab process. So, and the Chiefs historically have been very, very cautious with Patrick Mahomes. The only other injury that he's had where he's missed time was when he dislocated his kneecap on a quarterback sneak back in his second year as a starter. He missed 2 weeks because of that, but he's literally never run a quarterback sneak again. And the QB sneak's kind of a big part of just about everybody's playbook, and the Chiefs said, we are absolutely never using this play again because this one time our dude had a freak injury. So something tells me that the Chiefs aren't going to be all that inclined to rush Patrick back, especially because if you look at their outlook, they're $44 million over the cap heading into 2026. They might get a little bit of help there if Travis Kelce retires, but there's a consequence of Travis Kelce retiring in that you don't have Travis Kelce anymore. And while it might seem like, well, he's washed up anyway, he's actually been pretty good this year. And he's been a big part of the reason why they've actually stayed in some of these games. And if he's not present, that hurts the team. And if he is present, they're even further over the cap. So,
yeah.
And they've clearly got holes. Their running game sucks. I've said this. I will be thrilled when I never have to watch Isaiah Pacheco run the football again. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. He's such a try-hard. He does the whole thing where he's clearly down, and then he gets up and pretends like he wasn't down. He tries to run for more yards, and I'm like, that should be a penalty. Like, frankly, because
if somebody were to hit him, it would be.
Yeah, they would call a late hit on that, even though he's still playing football, even though everybody else said it's time to stop.
Yeah, like that should be delay of game if nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. So, but anyway, the Chiefs are obviously, they were doomed this year. We kind of knew that coming into this week. It was going to be really tough for them to actually get back in the race. But, at this point, the future is the concern because their star quarterback is hurt.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and then on the other side of that game, the Chargers get a big win and get themselves that much closer to a playoff berth.
They swept the Chiefs this year, which
They
is,
did.
I didn't look up the last time that happened, but I feel like that's significant. Yeah, I'm a little sad for the league, right? Like, one of the NFL star players is gonna miss the rest of this season, and then the start of next season is clearly in jeopardy. Like, I mean, even if he does have a miraculous, rehab and return, like 9 months from now is still mid-September, and the season will have already started by then.
And what is this Chiefs team gonna look like at that point?
Yeah, and also we've seen it with people who have had reconstructive surgery for ACL tears. They might come back, but it usually takes a season for them to sort of get their legs under them. We saw that with Tom Brady, where he missed the entire 2008 season, comes back 2009. He was still very good that year,
Sure.
but he was not quite Tom Brady. But then the next year, he was back to being like the best quarterback in football type of Tom Brady. So we might not see that version of Patrick Mahomes again until 2027,
Yeah.
which, obviously Mahomes has had his sort of downslide a little bit that we've discussed here a little bit, where the last 3 years he hasn't been quite the same. But I still think he's an exciting player. He still makes incredible plays at a decent clip. It's the consistency that's been a little off, but he's still a magic show when he's at his best, and we want to see him be that.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, the Chargers now, they've won 3 in a row. They've won 6 of their last 7. They're 10-4 on the year. Like, this team is rolling right now, and they got the Cowboys, Texans, and Broncos coming up. 3 very interesting games that will, I think, tell us what we need to know about what their chances really are going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of said about the Chargers coming into this game that this is one where I didn't think they had to win it, but like in terms of if they lose, they're screwed, they're not going to make the playoffs. It was more of we have to win this because this is an opportunity to slay the dragon, right? Like you have a chance to put the Chiefs definitively out of the playoffs if you win this game.
Yep.
And the Chargers are by far and away the worst meet-the-moment franchise in the history of football, right? Like, we've had worse franchises. Obviously, the Lions historically have been terrible. The Browns, the Raiders for the last 20 years. But those teams are just bad.
Dolphins.
The Chargers literally just, like, they have good teams.
Yeah,
but they just don't win,
no,
which
this
is
the
incongruous.
same thing going back to the years when they had Marty Schottenheimer. When they were, like, always had good teams, but they didn't win when it mattered the most. So
same thing when they had Dan Fouts and Don Coryell.
This has been an all-time thing. So I think that these next 3 games are really important from that standpoint. The Cowboys are a team that literally has to win out and have the Eagles lose out to make the playoffs, but they're not out yet.
Yeah.
They're still alive going into this game, so they're going to be playing tough. The Texans are fighting for the AFC South because the Jaguars are all of a sudden a wagon. And then the Broncos, they're trying to keep the Chargers from going 6-0 in the division this season because currently they are 5-0.
I feel like the Broncos might be resting players in Week 18, though.
That's
possible. They've got
possible.
the inside track to the 1 seed. The Chiefs are not going to be a threat to them without Patrick on Christmas, so that game looks like a huge dud now. Like it was shaping up to be a massive AFC West game, and with no Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely possible that like that the Christmas Day game is not going to be as interesting now, but the Broncos are playing the Jaguars this week.
Yeah, that's a big game.
So
we'll talk about that.
If they lose that game, the Chargers win their next 2. All of a sudden, that last game is for the division.
Yeah, I think
and possibly the 1 seed.
I mean, the Chargers worry me just because their offensive line is in bad shape. Herbert's playing hurt. And that Texans defense is going to cause major problems for them.
The Texans defense has been rolling.
And C.J. Stroud's been playing pretty well lately, too. So, like, the
Yep.
Texans look like that's the team I wouldn't want to face at playing a home game straight out of the wild card round. That sounds like trouble. All right, so let's move on to another game on the slate. Let's talk Broncos-Packers. That was a Sunday night game? Or no, that was
that was a 4:25.
it was just
game.
it was so dark outside because
Yeah.
it's just ugh.
I hate standard
It's
time.
brutal. It's brutal. But yeah, so Broncos-Packers, this was a wild game. The Packers jumped out to a big lead, and then Patrick Surtain made just one of the best interceptions you'll ever see. And I don't want to say it this way because it makes it sound like he intentionally did something. He also hurt Christian Watson on the play, which knocked him out of the game and kind of, that's when the game kind of tilted. And then, of course, the biggest injury was Michael Parsons suffering a torn ACL later in that game, which obviously will hurt the Packers with their hopes of winning the Super Bowl this year because he's their best defensive player and he's been playing just like a madman for the last month. But, yeah, big win for the Broncos, especially with New England losing. We'll talk about that game next, but huge win for them to basically have the inside track to win the only bye available for the AFC. So nice win for them. And now suddenly, Bo Nix played great for the entire game. That was something we haven't seen from him.
No,
He's been
yeah.
kind of...
He's either been really good in the fourth quarter or he's been really good everywhere else.
Yeah, he hadn't put together like a full 60. This time he did, and they needed him to do it.
Yep.
He was fantastic in this game. So the Broncos, they were kind of looking like a team that I'd be like, okay, that's a 1 seed that I'd want to face, because of Bo Nix. But if Bo's going to play like that, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl, or at least go to the Super Bowl.
They will at least give themselves a chance.
Yeah.
The defense has been playing very well. The running game has kind of found its footing with R.J. Harvey getting more solidified in that role. Cortland Sutton has been really good. Evan Ingram has been a solid safety valve for Knicks this season. The other wide receivers have been inconsistent, but they've always had at least one step up each game to complement Sutton. So, and then on the Packers side, those losses, specifically Parsons, I don't know that it completely tanks their playoff chances, but I mean, this is not the easiest schedule coming up. They've got the Bears, who are currently leading the NFC North. Then they've got the Ravens, who are fighting for their playoff lives. And then you've got the Vikings, who, they're out of the playoffs, but they've been playing hard lately. And J.J. McCarthy has actually looked good 2 weeks in a row. Who had that on their bingo card? So, the only player on the Vikings who is, not playing well at all is Justin Jefferson, because for whatever reason, J.J. and J.J. can't seem to link up, even though every other receiver McCarthy has no problem getting the ball to all of a sudden. If Jefferson and McCarthy can figure that out, this is a team that's playing for pride and can actually, wreck some teams' postseason hopes. Hopefully not my Lions. So we got to play them on Christmas.
Evan?
I mean, I'm just looking at the NFC standings right now. The Packers I think they're in deep trouble. They might miss the playoffs altogether. When Micah Parsons went out, obviously he's a tremendous and impact player. But that was when the Broncos offense seemed like they just couldn't be stopped anymore by the Packers defense. Micah Parsons was, in the very first game of the season against the Lions.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, he was just all over the place. Had the unstoppable Max Crosby motor type thing going on. It was fun to watch, and it's sad that he's out. I mean, if the Packers don't have their defense anymore, I feel like the Lions can leapfrog them.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is tricky there is just the Lions being a game and a half behind the Packers. That half game is kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench in some things, but most likely there's going to be one extra playoff team from the NFC North and 2 from the NFC West, because LA, Seattle, and San Francisco all already have 10 wins.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to come down to Detroit and Green Bay for that last playoff spot, and hopefully my Lions can get the job done.
Yeah, competitive NFC this year. Certainly wouldn't want to square off against any of those wild card teams because the runner-up in the NFC West is going to be a really dangerous out.
Yeah, there's not going to be anywhere to hide in the NFC other than maybe that whoever gets to play the South winner.
Oh, that team's getting trucked. Like that's the Shakey's game written all over it. Like that.
Get the Texans out of there finally.
Yeah, the Texans don't belong in the Shakey's game. This is full-on NFC South mode.
Right now, it's Seattle at Tampa Bay.
Well, that's
in the
tough.
4-5. So
I'm pretty sure. I mean, they met earlier this year, but the Bucs were playing much better football back then. It's a different time.
But Sam Darnold in the playoffs.
I mean,
on the
yeah,
road.
I agree, but
We also haven't seen that much of Sam Darnold in the playoffs.
Why is that?
Because he's only been there once.
why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
I mean, Evan's got a point. Like, Sam Darnold is certainly capable of turning into a pumpkin anytime. So there is some interest there. But all right, let's move on to Patriots Bills because this game was bigger for the Bills than the Patriots. The Patriots are still in control of their fate. They actually have another game they could lose. Like if they lose to Baltimore, they'll still be in first place. I assume they're going to beat the Jets and the Dolphins to finish the year. Especially because from what we saw with the Dolphins last night, they look like they're just completely done.
The Dolphins should be contracted to the Sun Belt.
I'm
so tired of them.
I'm pretty sure the game between the Patriots and the Dolphins is in New England as well. So like, there's not going to be any 1 p.m. Miami malaise that we see AFC East teams often have for whatever reason. Maybe their Miami flu catches up with them, or they're having a little too much tequila or something. But
it's in New England.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Is that's not a concern. Is that because oftentimes we remember how many times we saw the Patriots with Tom Brady go down there and face some
lose.
Yeah, they would lose to some crummy Dolphins team, even though the Patriots were like 14-1 or something. Like it just didn't make any sense. So
yeah, the thing that bothers me for the Patriots coming out of this game is the way they lost.
Yeah,
they were up 21-0. They were up 24-7. The Bills come back and take a lead 28-24. They get a 65-yard touchdown run by Travion Henderson to put them back in control. And they immediately turn around and let the Bills drive down the field, get a touchdown with James Cook. With still plenty of time on the clock. There were almost 7 minutes left in the game, and the Patriots couldn't even get down to give themselves a chance to get in the end zone to win that game.
Apparently, they gave up 5 straight touchdown drives in the game. That's
that can't happen. That is the problem with this. The problem is not the record. The problem is not losing to the Bills. It's losing to the Bills in that way. When you have Josh Allen down 21-0, you cannot just turn around and let him go ham and let that offense do whatever they want to do.
Okay, but that's also the track record of the Bills, though, is that they Josh Allen is Darth Vader. Okay, you just have to hope that you're far enough ahead that he doesn't catch up to you because you're not going to kill him. He's going to kill you if you give him enough time. So that to me, how many times have we seen Josh Allen do this where you can just see it? The first touchdown drive that they put together, you're like, oh well, they're not getting stopped the rest of the game. That happened at the end of the first half. When they scored that touchdown to cut it to 21-7, I was like, okay, well, Josh Allen's not going to be stopped for the rest of the game. So the Patriots needed to keep scoring. They needed to put together lengthy offensive drives to shorten the game and get out of there with a win. That's the part that was the problem because Josh Allen does this to a lot of teams. And the Patriots had some defensive injuries that didn't help. They had some offensive injuries that didn't help, but ultimately, the offensive side of it, that's Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. I think you got to give him his due. He's probably the best player in football right now with the injuries to Mahomes. Obviously, Mahomes is one of the bigger contenders for that title, and with Lamar not being Lamar this year. So that part of it doesn't bother me. It's the fact that their offense kind of clammed up because Drake May has been excellent this year, but he was an MVP candidate. He and Matt Stafford were the 2 favorites to win the MVP award. This was an MVP moment where you say, okay, I got us this big lead. There's this supernatural force on the other side. The defense isn't going to be able to stop. I have to do my part to seal this win. And he didn't do it. He's year 2, right? I'm not writing him off by any means. He's still great.
No.
But that was a moment where he could have really stamped his name on an MVP trophy potentially, and he
Instead,
didn't do
now Josh Allen has suddenly played his way back into the MVP conversation,
which I think is ridiculous.
I do too. I agree, but like, he's now being discussed in that.
Well, that's because Dan Orlovsky gets on TV and starts bloviating about how Josh Allen is the best player ever, even though he admitted that Lamar had a better season than him last year, but still voted for Allen for MVP, even though he said Lamar was a better quarterback. Like, just the man is ridiculous, and he should not have a vote. Like, he is literally paid by the Bills to do film review of Josh Allen. He is not an unbiased observer. He should not have a vote.
I mean, ESPN's they have a lot of hours to cover on TV, right? Like, he's got to say something.
He can say something intelligent.
I mean, but
instead of glazing his boy, like, how about just get some perspective?
But daytime on ESPN, that's just filler garbage.
Well, then don't give those people MVP votes. These things actually matter, and I will discuss that with our next game that we're going to talk about.
Okay. Which is
Lions-Rams. Because the actual MVP plays for the Los Angeles Rams. And that guy's name is Matt Stafford. Sorry, Corey, it's not Jonathan Taylor anymore.
Oh yeah, he's played himself out of that.
He can't be.
We have not been podcasting in 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. During those 3 weeks, he is not.
Well, the last podcast y'all did without me because I was getting these
vacation.
pants. I was getting these pants. Don't talk about me being on vacation. You're on vacation more than I am these days, buddy.
I don't miss podcasts.
That's true.
That is true. You're always here. Right. But anyway, I was getting these delightful pajama pants, by the way. I was not on vacation. But they're very comfy. But there was a business trip down to D.C., which we won.
We did.
Yes.
One of 4 wins you guys have?
Yes,
currently?
4 wins.
The Wizards have 4 wins?
National Weed Day, 420, baby.
When did they get the 4th one?
Sunday.
Oh.
They beat the Pacers in a Sunday matinee while everybody else is watching football, including me. I kept an eye on it, but I was like, hey, look at that, we won. So I had to watch the game.
Them.
I had to watch the game yesterday to catch up. But anyway.
See, I thought that the MVP was Jared Goff, but
you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You definitely did not believe that.
He's been very good, but not as good as Matt Stafford. Not even close.
All right, so let's talk Lions-Rams because that was, unfortunately for Corey, although your Lions hung in there, but your defense has been struggling a little bit lately, and Matt Stafford and the
struggling,
Rams
and it's
offense.
also it's Matt Stafford and it's Puka Nacua and it's Kyron Williams and before he got hurt, Devontae Adams. Like, the Rams have so many ways to kill you, and they're like,
and their defense is pretty good too.
And their defense is pretty good. Like, we were able to do a lot more against them than I thought we would, but I think the biggest thing that really hurt us was that we couldn't get all facets of the game going on offense. Like, we were throwing the ball well. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a monster day. Jahmyr Gibbs couldn't do a thing against them.
I'm going to need that to change this week, please.
Well, we're going up against the Steelers. I think that he'll be fine.
I need him to be fine this week. I cannot do another one and done. I can't do it, Corey. I can't do it.
What would this be? 4 straight 1 seeds and then one and done?
15, 18. Yeah, 4 in a row.
Ooh.
No. Only 3 in a row. 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You've been watching the Ravens too much. Getting the 1 seed and then.
I mean, the Ravens have been watching me too much because I do this all the time.
That, Evan, that's a title.
Yeah. Just vomit. Throwing up like Josh Allen, apparently, even though apparently Allen just does that. Apparently he throws up.
Oh.
He's like Steve Young. Like Steve Young used to be that guy. He would that's how the 49ers knew it was ready time to go out to the field. Is Steve's done throwing up.
And here somebody thought that maybe he was pregnant instead of Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, well, that's not how biology works
No, it's
for
not.
humans, at least. Okay, so Lions-Rams.
Saw it on Twitter.
Lions are now, unfortunately, kind of in a tough spot, as we mentioned. They're game and a half out of the playoffs.
It was a game that we didn't need to win, but it brings our playoff probability down. I think we're like around 30% now, which is
Well, you got to win the rest of your games.
Basically, yeah. I mean, unless Green Bay just loses the rest of their games, that's really the only way that we could drop another one. And, fortunately, we have 3 winnable games. We've got the Steelers this week, which we should win. We still have not lost back-to-back games in a long, long time. The problem is we also haven't won back-to-back games since weeks 4 and 5 of this season.
Oh.
So, we got to beat the Steelers this week, and then we've got to back that up with a win on Christmas against the Vikings, and then we probably are going to need to beat the Bears in Week 17.
Yeah, we talked about the Packers maybe being the team that falls out. Like a couple weeks ago, I thought that would probably be the Bears, but the Bears have kept winning.
Yeah, the Bears just keep on winning. You know, they lost the game against the Packers, but then they got right back on the horse against the Browns. They have the Packers again this week, so that's a big one. And they've got the 49ers and the Lions. It's not impossible that Chicago could implode and fall out of this. You know, if Detroit goes 3-0 and Chicago goes 0-3, which both of those are possible, then all of a sudden Detroit is back ahead of them. First.
Yeah.
Right? So the path is still very much there, but yes, it most likely involves winning out for the Lions.
Yeah, and that's just not been really what you guys have done. Like, there's always like a kind of a, I don't want to say a shocking loss, but like there's a game where it feels like the Lions should have won that they seem to lose like almost like every 6 weeks or so.
I feel like the Lions, with their schedule this year, it's been particularly brutal.
Oh, it's been a brutal.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
every week
this
you guys
is
are playing
why-
somebody good. Yeah,
It's like every week the Lions are playing, oh, this is the best team from whatever. And I'm like, and then everybody else from the division is just playing the Browns or somebody.
yeah. The cupcakes haven't really been
Right.
there for you guys at all.
So if we go back to the start of the year and our predictions, I believe I had the Lions winning the NFC, but with like 10 wins.
Oh, I don't. I
Because
didn't
the
pick
NFC
win
was brutal in
totals.
general, and because the Lions' schedule
Yeah, the
was
schedule
brutal.
was tough. Yeah.
Like that, like where we are right now is not shocking to me record-wise. The thing that is shocking to me is that the rest of the NFC has been so top-heavy, but it's like it's balanced top-heavy. You've got 7 or 8 teams that are really, really, really good, and then everybody else is giving up all those wins in order for those teams to have inflated records.
Well, you can blame the NFC South for a lot of that, and the bottom of the NFC East too. Like the
Yes.
Giants and
Yeah,
the
the Giants and the
Commodes
Commodes are bad.
cannot win. Like they can beat each other sometimes, but it's ugly stuff.
Yeah.
So
I could blame the AFC North too, right?
yeah, it doesn't help. That division's terrible as well,
And
and
the Lions are going for the AFC North sweep this week.
oh, they're gonna need it, and you're gonna need it, Evan, because your Ravens need
Oh my God.
somebody to beat the
I
Steelers.
suffered through that garbage performance last night from the Dolphins. I tell
Were you surprised?
No,
This
I
is
was not
Tua
surprised.
in minus or in under 40-degree weather.
It might as
Mi-
well have been
it's
minus
Miami,
40.
yeah.
Right? Like, just a complete incompetent, flaccid performance. Just couldn't do anything at all.
Except for Darren Waller in the fourth quarter, who got me
Well, after
my
I
fourth
turned the
win of
game
the
off.
season in fantasy.
Oh, my God.
Me and the Wizards.
Oh, my
Look
God.
at you.
Just
She gets some pants too.
just completely useless.
All right.
Right? Just didn't show up.
All right, let's move to our last game. I don't want to spend too much time on this because the game was actually pretty competitive and certainly important. The Seahawks and the Colts featured the return of Phillip Rivers, who, again,
1,800 days
when
to the day.
when I found out that they put him on the practice squad, I was like, he's gonna start. Like we
Oh,
all,
yeah,
we
there's
all
no
knew that.
question.
Phillip Rivers ain't coming back just to hang out at practice. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna suit up. They're gonna put this old geezer who hasn't played football in 5 years.
Looking like Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah,
there.
looking chubby as hell. He's a literal grandpa playing football. I think Brett Favre was a literal grandpa as
think
well.
he was,
but
yes.
but like this is a 44-year-old man, which again doesn't sound that crazy because of Tom Brady, but Tom Brady didn't take 5 years off.
The thing that really got me about Phillip Rivers being 44 was the other former players who I haven't heard some of them for like a decade.
Yeah.
Clinton Portis is 44 years old.
Yes.
Nnamdi Asomugha
Oh,
is
yeah.
44 years old. Troy Polamalu is 44 years
He's
old.
been in the Hall of Fame for years.
Peanut Tillman is 44 years old.
Is
Can you
Phillip
believe
Rivers
that?
older than LaDainian Tomlinson? Because LaDainian Tomlinson's been in the Hall of Fame for
Oh, LaDainian
a long
Tomlinson
time.
is definitely older
He
than...
because Thomason was playing in like 2001. So yeah.
LaDainian
Rivers was
Tomlinson
drafted in
is 40.
2004.
He's only 46.
Yeah, because
He's
he
actually
but
not that much older.
But he retired pretty young. Like, he was like early 30s
Like
when he
what?
retired. So yeah, Rivers makes his grand return, resets his Hall of Fame clock, which might be good strategery for him because there were no good quarterbacks drafted for like 10 years in the NFL. Like, Rodgers was like the last great one.
Yeah, 2031, there's going to be nobody but him.
Like, the competition is Matt Stafford, who we'll talk about like when we get to the Thursday night game. Russell Wilson. Are we sure he's going to the Hall of Fame at this point?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I will take Phillip Rivers probably over both, but Stafford's still actually good, so he might build a resume that exceeds Rivers. But that's it. Like, whereas right now, this year he was competing with Drew Brees. Obviously, Drew Brees is better.
Yep.
He was going to be competing with Eli, who I think Rivers is a better player, but
Probably
he's
won
got
2 Super
the
Bowls.
chips.
And they were against Tom Brady.
And then
so.
and coming up next year, Ben Roethlisberger, who again, who's better? It's tough to say, but Ben's got the championship, so he's got the goodies.
Yep.
And Tom Brady's going to be, like you said, 2 years from now. So there was going to be a logjam at quarterbacks that's going to clear before Rivers returns to the ballot, and he was already a semifinalist this year. So I think just by deciding to show up for a week, looking chubby as hell like he's a former fat kicker.
I think he also reset his pension
and his health insurance.
His
He gets
pension,
another 5 years
he
of
gets
health
another
insurance.
5
He's
years
got
of
11
that.
kids.
His pension was just about to run out.
Not that he really needs it. He's made
Smart
plenty of money.
business decisions,
But,
right. But,
and he actually looked okay.
He threw more touchdown passes than Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow combined.
Well, that's not very impressive because Joe Burrow just...
Actually, I guess technically he threw the same number because Joe Burrow did throw a touchdown just to the wrong
Does
team.
that count as a touchdown pass if somebody laterals it? Do you get credit for a touchdown pass? Like if I throw...
It was an interception for a touchdown.
I know, but Van Noy handed it off.
Right, it still counted as an interception for touchdown.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, does that count as a touchdown pass on offense? If I
Like
throw
if
it to
it's a
Kelsey,
ladder
and Kelsey
type of
flips
thing?
it to Kadarius Toney, and Toney takes it to the house, but then it gets called back because he was offsides.
I think that it becomes a completed pass, but
And
then
then
it's
a rushing
touchdown for. But the person doesn't get a carry, right? Like they get the rushing, but they get rushing yards, just not a carry for it.
I asked this
It's
completely in jest.
weird.
We don't need to get into the minutia of this because we are trying to stick to an hour. Let's shout out to Phillip Rivers and he led a game-winning drive until he didn't, right? Because the Seahawks came back and led a game-winning drive themselves.
The
So.
The
Seahawks
Seahawks
kicker-
won with only 6 field goals. They didn't score any other points in the
I
game.
noticed because Jackson Smith and Jigba didn't do that much, and again,
And Jason Myers did.
I'm gonna need you to play better this
Jason
week,
Myers
buddy.
said he grew up a Chargers and Phillip Rivers fan.
Well, that tracks because Rivers is old. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some of these games. We've sort of highlighted each of these teams to some extent, but Seahawks-Rams is a huge Thursday night game. First Thursday night game to feature 2 11-win teams, as we kind of discussed before the show. And also, these teams are tied for the NFC West, lead at 11-3 apiece. So, winner of this game, obviously, if the Rams win it, they basically lock the division up because they already beat the Seahawks.
Yep.
But the Seahawks would still get the inside track if they win. So, huge game for both teams. And I mentioned this earlier when we talked about Josh Allen. I sort of alluded to Matt Stafford's Hall of Fame case. Matthew Stafford is currently the front runner to win the MVP. If he plays well in this game and they win, he effectively locks that award up. Matthew Stafford winning the MVP, in my opinion, takes him from outside shot of Hall of Fame to inside shot of Hall of Fame.
I would say it puts him just solidly in the Hall of Fame.
I was maybe that's a better way of putting it, but I agree with you.
I think
it's a huge
he
deal.
already has a decent shot of making it there. He won a Super Bowl in his first year in LA.
Yep.
He had a very good career in Detroit. It's just the team was
He's playing
never
with the
good
Lions,
around
yeah.
him. And you can talk about he was throwing to Megatron for a lot of that career, but Megatron also retired early, and Matt Stafford had some years without Megatron where he was still very good.
Pretty good, yeah.
And there was a reason why the Rams were willing to give up Jared Goff and a plethora of draft picks to get this guy, because he was a very good quarterback. I think that the Lions easily won that trade in the long run, but here the Rams are still very competitive a few years later.
I think both teams won the trade because the Rams got what they wanted, and Stafford led them to a Super Bowl, and he's got them in position to maybe win another one. So, again, the reason why I say Stafford coming into this year, won Super Bowl title, didn't win Super Bowl MVP. That was Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
But he's only a 2-time Pro Bowl selection coming into this year. That's a little thin.
Yeah, it is.
And the record, again, Detroit, not really his fault that they were consistently bad. He helped them actually be somewhat competitive. But barely above 500.
Yeah.
Leaves a little to be desired there. if obviously he'll be a Pro Bowl selection this year because he's
100%.
the front runner to win the MVP.
Yep.
So that'll add a third. Still not great, but an MVP award where it's like, yeah, I won a Super Bowl and I was the best player in the league at the most important position. That adds a lot of meat to what's going to be an impressive career totals wise. Like, he's among the league or the historic leaders in yards and touchdowns because he's been a volume guy his entire career. I think it means a lot for him to maybe get this award. Obviously, all of this is moot if they win the Super Bowl, because then he's getting in no matter what. Like, you can't keep a two-time winner, especially with somebody as good as Matt Stafford out. But that's why I'm like, when I see Dan Orlovsky on TV pushing for Josh Allen to win the MVP award again, I'm like, last year it didn't matter. Okay, Ravens fans didn't care about the MVP. Lamar already won 2, and they wanted to win the damn Super Bowl, and they still do. For this, it actually does matter a little bit. Like, this could affect a guy getting a gold jacket or not. So just don't be a jackass about this, and don't screw up the voting because you have a crush on somebody. Like, give me a break.
No, I agree 100% with that. So, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the best Thursday night matchups that we've ever gotten. So I'm excited for 2 days from now.
Hopefully, Al Michaels sounds excited.
That game-winning field goal call last week was brutal.
Again, go ahead.
Oh, I'm looking at the standings right now. The loser of this game is, I mean, if the 49ers win this week, I forget who they're playing. But if the loser of this game has the potential to
They
fall,
play the Colts on Monday night.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a win.
Yeah, that's a win. They could fall all the way to number 6 in the NFC. So, like, you know, the if the season ended this week, right? The 4 seed gets to host the 5 seed, which is currently Seattle.
Yep.
But then the 3 seed hosts the 6, which is currently Philadelphia, right? So that's a big jump in potential playoff opponents. You know, like, you know, any of these 3 good NFC West teams could probably roll the Buccaneers.
You want that 5 seed if you can't win your division for sure.
But like, having to go to Philadelphia with those crazy people drinking in the parking lot all week long,
putting suicide notes on Facebook and having the cops show up and it's like, nah, I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts just turned the ball over 6 times. I wasn't serious. Like, yeah, just
unlike Aguilar guy.
Yeah, I love that guy. Hope he's doing well because
Yeah.
he's a king. He's also a hero because he was catching them, unlike Aguilar. So, you know, all right. So we've kind of talked about the importance of Bears Packers quite a bit. Do we need to touch on that more or?
Not really.
Not really.
Okay.
I don't think. I mean, it's interesting that it's a Saturday game. We get Saturday football.
We
this week.
we don't have normal football slates anymore because we're. In fact, this weekend is Don't Get Divorced weekend. That's right. It's the weekend before Christmas, where you're gonna have football on Saturday and Sunday. Your wife's gonna want you to take care of some stuff before the holidays, finish up Christmas shopping, finish decorating, get dinner ready, like get your preparation done for Christmas, and you're gonna want to sit around watching football. Don't get divorced, guys. Take care of the errands. You can miss a game or 2. It's fine. You'll catch the highlights. So just looking out for all y'all's chickens and mentals out there. So, all right. We also have Jags Broncos. We talked about this a little bit.
Yep.
The Jaguars currently are in a great position to win the AFC South.
And Trevor Lawrence
Was
finally had the kind of game that like people that he was drafted to have.
Yeah.
He had-
6
he
years
had
ago.
6 touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing.
That rushing touchdown was sick too. Like that was incredible.
Made some nice throws to like ETN had 3 catches, all of them for touchdowns.
Well, your cousin Urban kind of screwed him up a little bit in that first.
That didn't. Okay, but he's had several years removed. He had a Super Bowl winning coach for a couple of years there, and he got him fired too. So
Stinky Peterson.
yeah, Stinky Peterson. But this should be a nice little respite, or not respite. That's not the right word. But this should make Ravens fans feel good to watch someone like Liam Cohen have a great first year as a head coach, because when you inevitably fire your clown of a coach.
I feel like Harbaugh, the Ravens need to win 7 more games in a row.
Yes. For him to
Hurts
keep his job. Yeah, you have to win the Super Bowl. Like, otherwise you have to fire him. Like, come on.
He's got to go.
But, like, the thing is, like, that was the big concern. Evan has voiced this. Ravens fans are concerned. Well, if we fire Harbs, who do we get? Well, there's a lot of good young coaches out there that are doing good things immediately. Like, you can find somebody.
Ben Johnson's
Yeah, Ben Johnson's an example. Liam Cohen's an example.
I don't know if there's a coach available in the NFL who I would want less than John Harbaugh at this point if I'm a Ravens fan.
I mean,
like
among the 32 or in general? Because I would rather have him than Urban Meyer. But
right now, I am willing to go hire Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh come on!
What? That's absurd.
That's mean.
That is utterly ridiculous.
I'm not trying to be mean to Harbaugh. I'm just being honest.
Honestly,
Corey's being mean.
I think John Harbaugh should go coach at Michigan, which we'll get to shortly.
Yes. Okay. In fact, let's go there now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have to. We still got Patriots, Ravens.
That's
Sunday
on the
night.
list.
Did we put that on the list?
I don't know.
I didn't put it on the
No.
list.
Well, Tampa Bay, Carolina. It's
I don't
be the NFC
Tampa
South
Bay,
Championship.
I don't care. I don't care.
Could be a division title right there.
Ugh.
We
can move.
Okay, I know you're being sarcastic, so
Mostly.
let's talk about what's going on in Ann Arbor, or what was going on, I guess. Sherrone Moore, is that how you pronounce Sherrone?
Yeah.
Okay. Sherrone Moore, the now disgraced, fired, and in deep trouble with the law, former head coach of the Michigan Wolverines football program. He had quite a week, and not in a good way. For those who have watched a lot of college football, your introduction to Sherrone Moore was probably when he was filling in for Jim Harbaugh when Harbaugh was suspended towards the end of the 2023 season. That was 2 years ago. And he basically got on TV after they won the game that they were supposed to win anyway. And
State was crying.
he was crying and acting like it's us against the world and we're being unfairly treated, when the reason why Harbaugh was being suspended was because it was the second time during that season that they had gotten caught breaking the rules. So, like, there's some woe is me when it's self-inflicted going on here, and we know we ain't about that. And not only woe is me, but shame on you from this guy.
Yes.
So he did not ingratiate himself well to college football fans with that nonsense.
Described it as histrionics.
Yes, and so but then he is hired to be Jim Harbaugh's replacement when Harbaugh wins the title and ultimately moves on back to the NFL to coach the Chargers. And Michigan obviously hasn't been the same since, and they've had two sort of underwhelming seasons. I thought he might have gotten fired anyway just because Michigan football has standards and he wasn't living up to them, blah, blah, blah. Well, he got fired for cause because he was having an inappropriate relationship with a 22-year-old staffer, which is insane. And so he gets canned for that. And then, like, the same night, he gets arrested. And we're like, my thought was, did he do something to that woman? Like, is there, like, a sexual assault allegation associated with this inappropriate relationship, which is also an adulterous relationship as well because he's married? And I'm like, no, it turns out he just went nuts and tried to break into somebody's house.
It was her
house, and threatened to kill himself with, like, butter knives or some bizarre...
Well, the story I saw was that initially he was at his own home. Like, his wife knew about everything. He threatened to kill himself in front of his wife. And then he went to that staffer's home and threatened to kill himself and her, is what I heard.
Yeah. All of that happens, and it was all one sequence of disastrous events for this man and for anybody who was in his path, apparently. And, you know, what it kind of brought it home to me, like, because we're pretty flippant a lot of times about things that happen in sports, especially the scandalous. And this definitely qualifies as the scandalous. But when I see this man being arraigned basically from a padded cell, that's when I was like, okay, this isn't funny to me anymore. I don't begrudge anybody who finds humor in it because this is self-inflicted BS from this guy. But
the whole situation is bizarre. Like, and things that are bizarre, it's hard not to laugh, not necessarily in a ha ha ha, this is hilarious, like,
but just at the absurdity of it.
Like it's completely absurd, and it's kind of hard to, like,
it's awkward.
What's the right way to react to this?
Yes. Yeah, and my reaction when I saw that was, it was sort of like, getting hit with some smelling salts where you're just like, oh, this is different. Like, when you read the text about all the stuff, you're like, yeah, I know all that stuff is bad, but holy crap, this dude's having a rough night.
Yeah.
And then you see him in that state where he's having to talk to the judge from a cell. Like, he can't even be in a courtroom because they don't trust this man to comport himself in a fashion that won't result in self-harm or harm of others. That's insane. And it's a fall from grace for somebody who had tens of millions of dollars in his hands that he threw away because of his idiocy. And ultimately, despite all of that, you're left looking at him, and I had a hard time not feeling a little bit of pity for him because he was clearly broken at that point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like
I don't have any words to really describe it either. Like it's a totally wild situation. He clearly had some mental issues that were caused by his, I guess, marriage falling apart and losing his job, I guess. But like it's all of it, you know. Like it's a shame that it had to go this way, and you know, people had to have their lives threatened.
one of the things that I'm very curious about, though, in this situation is earlier this fall, the university had received a tip about this situation with Moore and the staffer, and they investigated it and said they did not find credible evidence of wrongdoing. So I'm very confused about the discrepancy there of how you investigate this. Don't find any evidence of wrongdoing, but then
Doesn't sound like they investigated it.
clearly
looked very
something
hard,
was
yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
unless they were
Unless
unless the two of them
all
were like,
happened, like,
hey,
last
like they thought we were doing this, we weren't, but maybe now we should. Like that. That's the only other alternative.
Or they were just both so slick about it that they managed to hide it, which, based off of the evidence of how this man behaves, he doesn't seem like the most level-headed individual to be able to cover himself up.
Right. Like I'm going to be very interested to, you know, see if anything more comes about that, because I haven't heard any update on that aspect of it in the past week. That was about a week ago that I saw that.
Well, I'll inject some doubt in any confidence in the Michigan Athletic Department, given the fact that we watched Juwan Howard assault another coach in the middle of a game, and he kept his job.
For like 3 years.
Yeah, like maybe a couple. Well,
I think,
like 2
it was
years.
3.
he got fired because the team sucked, not because he was face
because he
mushing
punched
coaches.
somebody.
While Evan and I are in line for Ghost Rider, and we're seeing this stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It was
was
called Twitter back
ridiculous.
then. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said all we need to say about this. Obviously,
Hopefully he gets the help he needs.
absolutely for himself and for everybody around him.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, that's really at that
People's
point
families.
I care more about him or the people that
well-being
love
and
him.
the
Yeah.
people around him, yeah.
All right. So let's move on to some other interesting news. What the hell is a polar bear doing in Baltimore, Maryland?
I don't know. It's escaped from the zoo in Queens, New York, I guess.
We're $1 million contract with your Baltimore Orioles, and sorry, Corey, we're really excited about it because we don't do this type of stuff. I know for you, this is old hat. We sign everybody. We're the Yankees. We're the greatest of all time. You're giving me this.
27 rings.
Yeah, you're giving me this look like I don't know what this look is supposed to be, but yeah. Anyway, we got Pete
I just
Alonso.
think when the Yankees get Cal Raleigh next year, like, you know, we're gonna be right back in front of you guys with the catcher situation.
I mean, you're already in front of us at the catcher situation.
Wait, Pete Alonso's a first baseman.
That's right. Like,
What am I talking
our catcher's fat and doesn't show
I
up to
hear
play
polar
anymore.
bear and I automatically assume, he must be a catcher.
No, it's
White behind, obviously.
It's like squats and chocolate milk, sir.
Yeah.
Like, Evan, you are a massive Pete Alonso fan even before this inexplicable decision to come to Baltimore. So I will give you the first word on this one.
I am so happy, and he hasn't played any games or anything. And like you said, I'm a huge Pete Alonso fan because he's just out there having a good time. Isn't all this supposed to be fun anyway? And I love the home run derby, and he's out there trying to win the home run derby. And I think it was 2019 or 21, one of those years. I guess it was 21 when Trey Mancini was in it. Some poor kid had some sort of accident in the outfield, and Alonso's just like bobbing his head to some music while he's standing at the plate, and there's 50,000 people just all staring at him. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just here to hit some dingers."
Yeah, like this
like that
child
kid
was
from
out there.
Alabama, who's like, "My name's Big Al, and I hit dingers."
Yeah.
Like, this is the grown-up version of that.
Yeah, the
Even
grown
though
up
that kid's a grown-up now too. It's
like-
been a little while.
grown up major league version of that. The poor kid tore his ACL while running around the outfield trying to catch fly balls from people. And Pete Alonso was at the plate. Did they pause because they had to stretcher the kid off the field?
I don't know about stretcher,
But they had to help him.
show it, but
Yeah.
they had to
And
delay.
Pete Alonso was just jamming to the music while he's beating a cancer survivor in the home run derby and Trey
Yes.
Mancini. It was the most sociopathic home run derby performance I've ever seen, and it was great. Like it was incredible. I mean, I agree.
Yeah, he showed up. He won Rookie of the Year in 2019, I think. He seems like a good guy. He shows up to play, unlike a lot of Orioles players. Pete Alonso, 162 games last year, 162 the year before that.
Yeah. So from a baseball perspective, the Orioles could have signed a better baseball player this offseason than Pete Alonso. Kyle Tucker's a better player than him.
They need to sign him too.
But I don't think they could have gotten a guy that's a better fit for the Orioles, given the fact that we've talked about the Orioles have struggled to find right-handed power hitting because Ryan Mountcastle, unfortunately, has not lived up to the hype on that front. And all the guys they drafted, except for like Jordan Westberg, are lefties. And lineup balance is important. Like we talked about the stupidity of Brandon Hyde benching all the lefties because, lefties on the mound. But it's nice to not even have to make a choice because we've got good right-handed hitters. We didn't have any of those before. So that's an excellent lineup balancing middle of the order bat. And also Pete Alonso brings a charisma, a level of veteran presence to this team that has been sorely lacking. Like we talked about, we made fun of Rougned Odor when he was with the Orioles because he's a great clubhouse guy.
Yeah,
but the problem is he
he
wasn't a good baseball player.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso is a good baseball player who will play every day. He's healthy for the Orioles and also provide that presence. So it's a big deal on that front. Obviously, there's a lot more work to do. This Orioles team needs pitching. We're barely into the offseason, so I'm not going to sit there and say they haven't done their jobs yet because the first shot across the bow was Pete Alonso. That's a pretty good one. But I know. But
I don't know. I still think there's a better first baseman available in free agency right now.
Greg Bird. I knew you.
Bird. Bird.
Yes.
Does he still play baseball? I know you're madly in love with Greg Bird.
Cool. I thought that was over. I threw that. I was like, I think Corey's saying Greg Bird, but maybe we're past that
12
point.
years of
Oh
Greg
my God!
Bird.
So
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Oh my
That's
God.
too funny.
yes,
Greg Bird.
I'm glad I nailed that one.
And I
'cause-
think with Pete Alonso, the change in ballpark is significant as well. Like Citi Field is gigantic, Camden Yards is not.
yes, and even with the sort of half measure stupid wall, somebody on the internet, as anybody always can, they did an analysis of expected home runs at Citi Field versus Oriole Park, and Citi Field, Pete hit I think 38 home runs last year, something like that. Mm-hmm. He was expected to have hit 45 of his home games were at Oriole Park.
45?
So I'll take that.
Big difference.
Yeah, and 38 was plenty. 45 would be incredible. So happy to have Pete Alonso on board. Polar bears are the only species that are known to hunt humans, and he thinks that's cool. So let's cook. All right, so before we get to shoutouts, because I did kind of skip over this a little bit, college football playoff bracket did come out, and there were some surprises, as there always are. Alabama and Miami in, Notre Dame and BYU out. Evan, tell me something.
I think we ran into a situation where, having 12 teams in the playoff might be too many. Just because
I think that some people would say it's not enough.
Some people did say that. They think that we should expand to 16. I'm like, and then the people we get left out. People cry about that.
think
Yeah,
it
there's
should
no
have
solving.
just
Just
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Teams.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we should go to 64.
that would be great.
No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
Okay, fine.
I don't watch.
28.
Yeah,
I know you would watch, but it's too much.
It's just Alabama in their performance in the SEC championship game, because we saw that and it was on television.
It was dismal.
It was so terrible. Lost number 3. They got completely dominated and boat raced and pounded into the dirt
By your favorite team.
Oh God, yeah, and just pathetic. So they're 10-3 and somehow in the playoff, and the committee tried to act like a conference championship game loss, that doesn't really count in the grand scheme of things. Like, yes, it does. They played another game. They sucked. get them out of here. So they need to go. And then Miami. Miami didn't even get to the conference championship game in the very soft and squishy ACC.
Yeah, Duke made it and won it.
Yeah, so we've got another basketball school winning a football conference championship.
Well, whose fault is that, Evan?
Well,
Your
yeah,
Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets had it right in front of you, and you fumbled it.
had it right in front of us 2 different times.
Yes.
They fumbled it. Yeah, so like, but Miami, they could have won their games and gone to the conference championship, and they didn't. Right? I think Carson Beck threw 4 or 5 interceptions against Louisville in a home game on a Friday night. Yikes.
Is he still dating a Cavender twin or whatever the hell their name is?
I have no idea
Okay.
who that is.
There's
at
like
all.
2 twins. There were like cheerleader type people. Both very attractive. They're twins, and Carson Beck was dating one. They were at Miami together. There was a whole social media storm about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is college football, man. This is what it's all about. You can't sigh and groan over that. This is stupid.
the
The
whole
sport
thing
is stupid.
Yes,
So
it
let's
is
have
very
fun.
stupid. And then Miami's other loss, they went out to Dallas and lost to SMU in overtime.
Ponies.
Yeah, like just they're just
At that point in time, SMU was like ranked, weren't they?
Think so.
they were like ranked-ish, right?
Okay.
Whether
they
they're ranked
were-
or you're not. They got 25 spots. If you're in one of them, you're ranked.
Well, they were others receiving votes or something.
Well, then they're not ranked.
Yeah.
Maryland's been others receiving votes. Been 4 and 8.
Can you really say Notre Dame, probably got snubbed here?
Mm-hmm.
Can we really say that BYU deserved to get in over either Alabama or Miami?
I can because BYU went 11-2 and both of their losses were to Texas Tech.
I mean,
And Texas Tech I think they got the 3 seed.
yeah, they're good.
So
I mean, this just seems like it's anti-Christian here. Like the Catholic school and the Mormon school get left out. What's going on? We don't love Jesus anymore?
apparently not.
This is America.
It's a tough break, What the hell?
Yeah, apparently not. So,
All right, well, I see
it's-
how it is.
So instead of BYU, going to the playoff and having a chance to play for championship, they instead get a chance to play for a bite out of the Pop-Tarts mascot.
Well, that might be better. So, and Notre Dame's not playing for
No,
anything
they're
because
not,
they were
'cause they're
being a
a bunch
bunch of
of-
baby back bitches and decided to sit out their bowl.
That is some of the weakest weak sauce I've ever heard in my life. Like I've no respect for your program anymore.
No.
If you're like, we didn't make the playoffs, so we're not going to play in a bowl game. I'm like,
Especially the
you
whole
have a
like
job to do. Like
the
what?
NCAA is bending over backwards for them because they have a stipulation that goes into effect next year where if Notre Dame finishes the season ranked in the top 12, doesn't matter if they're number 12 and like there's a conference champion
An auto bid.
that gets an auto bid, Notre Dame will be in the playoff if they are a top 12 team
That
at the end of the
bumps another
season.
at-large
They
out?
will bump another at-large out.
Oh,
Sounds like
They put that in their contract beginning next year. They will never ever miss another college football playoff if they're a top 12
that's
team,
really stupid.
which is
too.
ridiculous.
I think
and
they
then you're
should
going to
just join
turn
the
around. You're going to
conference.
thank them by saying no thanks on the college on the bowl game.
Yeah,
insane.
That right there should immediately take that out of their contract.
yeah, it's pathetic.
I have no respect for the Notre Dame program.
And Marcus Freeman, it's time to come home, buddy. It's over.
his hairline?
Hairline's looking rough.
Oh, really?
He's got like weird, like almost like ramparts for hair because there's
Ramparts.
baldness behind each
I don't
one.
even know what a rampart is. I only know that word because
Because
it's
of the
in
Star
our freaking
Spangled
national
Banner, yeah.
anthem.
It's almost like little barriers people put up in warfare.
Okay.
So it's like he doesn't really have a full flow. There's clearly something missing in the front. It looks like cabbage and it looks terrible.
It's like cabbage.
Right. Anyway, I got to be careful because I am talking about a black man's hair and I don't want to sound racist, but it just doesn't look very good. I'm sorry.
okay.
All right. Anyway, any other thoughts about this before we move to shout-outs?
No.
All right. Well, before we move to shout-outs, though, we did have a lot going on in the world this weekend, and not a whole lot of it was good. We had a tragic shooting in Australia, the anti-Semitic attack at Bondi Beach in Bondi, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
Okay. So Bondi Beach shooting was obviously terrifying and horrible. We had the Brown School shooting, and we had the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife in their home.
Yeah.
Just a lot of scary stuff happening, and we wish everybody that was involved, victims and their families, the best. Obviously, discussing Rob Reiner, he's the most high-profile person involved in this, and legendary Hollywood icon, actor, comedic actor, director. And it was just such a shame to hear that on top of all of these other really horrible things going on. So, it's the holiday season. Look out for your family members. Tell them you love them. Look out for each other and be safe. And
look out for your neighbors.
Yeah, that too.
Like, of any race, religion, creed, like, whatever, like, can we all just be a little bit freaking kinder to each other?
Yeah.
For once, like the hate that is, become so prevalent, in our society and clearly across the world, is just, it's getting so out of hand. And I wish I had solutions for it. I don't know if there are solutions for it other than for every individual to just make the conscious choice to be kind.
Well, that seems to be tough to come by, but again, I felt it was important to acknowledge it because there was, a lot that I had my mind on. I'm sure everybody here as well, but it was a bad week for the globe. So let's try to do a little better as a species, because soon enough we might not be one at this rate. So, all right, let's do shout-outs, hopefully positive ones. Evan, do you have anything?
I don't have anything. I couldn't think of anybody.
I got to shout out the tight ends this week because Kyle Pitts got me 45 points in my faculty fantasy league.
Smokes.
Helped me to 218 total points to win my wild card game. And then Darren Waller, who I needed 22.5 points from last night, got me 22.75 for me to beat Sean and get my 4th win of the season and avoid sole possession of the worst record in our league for this year. And hopefully I can win one of these next 2 weeks so I can avoid the punishment. But shout out to the tight ends this week.
Well, hopefully I won't be administering the punishment because my team actually steps up and gets me to the championship game again. So shout out to Evan, first of all, for attending the Ravens game with me 9 days ago at this point. Unfortunately, it wasn't the outcome that either of us wanted. Evan because his team needed to win, and me because, I kind of wanted them to win because I don't like the Steelers. And they lost, so that sucked. But I still had fun. I still enjoyed myself, and we had great seats. So hopefully we'll be able to do it back and have a better outcome next time. And also shout out to Nick Wright, who had one hell of a week last week, doing a full car wash on the podcast. He was on Simmons, he was on the Adam Friedland show, and he made an appearance on Dan Le Batard's podcast with one Pablo Torre, who definitely found out something about Nick Wright. Pablo apparently has had a beef with Nick that's been going on for a little while. And Pablo, Evan, you love Pablo.
Yes.
I tolerate Pablo, but
I'm not a fan.
Pablo has a reputation, very much earned, of being very smug. And his smugness was on full display.
He went to Harvard.
Yeah, he went to Harvard. He's from Manhattan, and his dad's the LeBron James of urologists or whatever. And yeah. Well, so Nick Wright and Pablo got into it a little bit because Pablo takes offense to the notion that Nick feels he can do Pablo's job at a high level, which is being an investigative journalist. And Nick kind of said, okay, well, why do you think I couldn't? And Pablo says, because you've never reported anything ever. And Nick, at which point, brought out the receipts and showed that he reported something of consequence and exclusively that resulted in something changing. So, Nick kind of won that battle, and Pablo doubled down and got, stuffed in a locker again, and it was kind of embarrassing for Pablo. And I do agree with Nick that when he said there's questions on whether Nick can do what Pablo does, we know for a fact that Pablo can't do what Nick does because Pablo tried and Pablo failed. So Nick definitely won that exchange, and Pablo might need to humble himself a little bit because some of these investigative stories have not quite gone the way you'd hope, specifically the aspiration story with the Clippers, that seemingly has died out. And sorry, Pablo, but do better the next time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's all I got. And I think that's all you guys got, unless we have use of work time. Do you have any go-backs? Thankfully, no.
Huh?
Yeah. You never had a meeting where it's like at the end of it's like, does anybody have any go-backs before
I've never heard of go-backs.
Really? Well, you work as a
with too
teacher.
many go-backish people.
I do. I work in a government building, so I do that. Come on now. All right, so let's get out of here. Yeah, go backs. Good God, I hate it when they do have go backs.
I thought you were saying goobacks,
Like in South Park, like the
episode.
racial slur for people from the future. No, that's not what I was doing. That was not what I was doing.
What?
Evan, you don't absorb enough cultural content to keep up with us. I'm sorry. All right,
Anyway.
let's wrap the show up. Thank you guys for tuning in and for putting up with, especially the last few minutes of this goofy nonsense. You can reach us at thesportsballers@gmail.com if you have any feedback, like stop rambling on at the end about South Park and whatnot. Or you can give us topic ideas or just any positive or negative feedback. We don't care. We just like to hear from you. You can follow us on Twitter at SportsBallers18. You can follow us individually. Corey is at Corey Puffett. I am at Quagmire67. And Evan is at Evan_Ash13. Also, keep an eye out for Weekly Whiz. I haven't written this week's yet because I got a little lazy, but I will have that out tomorrow. The Wizards don't play again until Thursday, so we'll cover all 2 games of last week. But I will have that out sometime tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, we'll be discussing whatever the hell happens this week, and then also going into Christmas, what kind of games we expect to see there, and whatever other sports news pops up. Maybe some more baseball news, maybe some basketball news. Who knows? We'll see. You will too if you tune in next week. Until then, take it easy.